party with our three hosts yesterday, but this is day one, branded by women. We managed to launch successfully 9 a.m. across the globe, starting at 10 p.m. last night to be 9 a.m. in New Zealand, their time this morning. If that's confusing, imagine what it'd be like if we didn't manage to do it worldwide. Anyways, I'm going to hand over to the hosts now. Up first, we have Athena Severi. She's one of the hosts of Branded by Women, alongside Isabella Hamilton and Michelle Venton. Along with her is Channing Dyson. Channing is an 8-figure brand owner with her partner. We also have Angie Chacon. She doesn't just own the brand, she owns the factory that all the products are made in. So that's next level boss. Also joining us with us today is brand owner Denise Duff. Welcome to the show, guys. Enjoy it. I'm going to hand over to Athena and the rest of you guys and jump off camera. You know where I am if you need me. So
Jenny, we love and appreciate you. This is groundbreaking, and we just love you all so much, so much. Okay, ladies, this is a moment. This is day one of Branded by Women, and I could not be surrounded by more amazing women. You guys are sunshine on a rainy day. So we're going to talk about mindset. And before we get started, I want to see who we have actually on here. Oh, look, Jamie's here, and Isabella. Hello, gorgeous. Oh my gosh, she says you all look marvelous. You are so stunning, and I can't wait to see you host tomorrow. So before we really get going, what I want to do is I want to make sure that you can hear us. So everyone just say hello real fast, make sure that our sound is okay. Can you guys hear us? Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Okay, wonderful. Great. So before we get started, I want to see who's on the call. Where are you located right now? We've got Carrie Ann from Boston. We've got Isabella, who I know is in California. We've got Jamie, who's in Nashville. So where else are all of the lovely people who are chiming in right here? We've got so many people. Kara is coming on here. This is great. Okay, good. Just want to make sure that you guys can hear us and that we have wonderful people on here. So before we start, also, please share this to any groups that have females, entrepreneurs. We want this to be spread far and wide. So if you guys can share this into any of my groups, Ladies with Babies, get into Warrior Women of Amazon, all of our amazing groups, please go ahead and share this far and wide. And so before we get started, I want to read one important thing so that we can kind of set the tone of what we're going to be talking about today, because it's such an important topic, and it is the topic of mindset. So I'm going to read to you the definition of mindset. It is a set of beliefs or a way of thinking that determines one's behavior, outlook, or mental attitude. So let's let that sink in. Mindset, when everyone talks about mindset, we're talking about a set of beliefs or a way of thinking, right? So what would be some examples of someone who has a positive mindset versus a negative mindset? Denise, would you tell us sort of what you've experienced with yourself, life in general? We're going to introduce everyone properly, but I just first want to really set the tone of what we're talking about, which is mindset. So Denise, what would you interpret mindset to be in your own words?
It's always looking for the bright side of it. It's knowing that there may be obstacles and difficulties, but not focusing on those, and just always looking for solutions and always looking of how you can help others.
I love that. And then for you, Channing, how would you see mindset, and why do you feel like it's an important topic to cover sort of as a baseline before everything else?
So for me, if I don't focus on my mindset, I can be kind of timid and afraid. So for me, focusing on mindset makes me brave and strong. So I think it's something that I try to focus on through everything I do throughout the day to, like Denise said, be encouraging to others and show them that with my mindset, I can overcome my inner voice, you would say, to make me strong.
I love that. And for you, Ange?
So I think mindset is actually extremely important, because it really is how you think about the task that you're about to overcome. So it's how you're going to jump into it, how you feel. In order to be successful, you have to act, what you have to do. You know, you kind of, there's a certain beingness or a certain doingness that comes along with, say, being successful or accomplishing certain goals in life. And you kind of have to assume that and think about that before you tackle that so that you have a chance of actually being successful.
I love that. Okay, perfect. So before we get into hearing your incredible stories and getting so much inspiration, I think that we should also talk about someone's purpose and someone's why and what that can do in terms of driving that mindset and that overcoming of obstacles, because we've all run into it. And I think a huge part of being an entrepreneur is being able to get back on that horse when you fall off. And we have all had so many of those ups and downs, and everyone does, right? A lot of times what you see is sort of the peak of the iceberg, and you see the success level of certain people, but you don't see all that it took to get there, right? And so I want to kind of go over that in a second. But first, I see a lot of amazing women coming on here. Look, Alicia Shapiro, Branded by Women, amazing Titan leader as well. Michelle Benton, finding my focus really changed everything for me. It allowed me to block out all the noise and focus on my own goals, no one else's. So that is a perfect thing to get into right now. And I want the ladies who are on here and the gentlemen, I want everyone to have a piece of paper, a note in your phone, whatever it is. I want you to actually follow along with this and take some notes, because this is really important. I want you guys to take a moment, and I want you to think about your actual purpose, your why, sort of what you see as being an ideal scene when it comes to your life, because everything else that we're going to be talking about in Branded by Women, when it comes to empowering you, when it comes to giving you the right tools, when it comes to everything else, without that baseline, it's like sort of the foundation that will allow you to kind of build the life that you're looking for. So Denise, can you tell me a little bit of your drive or the purpose or the why that kind of helps you to overcome the things that you run into in your world?
Okay, so my world certainly in the last few months has shifted. Acting auditions have stopped. As a photographer, that has stopped. And so I've had to really focus my energy on my other business, which is the skincare business. And I have to say, I really did the right thing, which is really look at what are successful companies out there doing to grow to the next level. And so I started to really look at all that, and I started to almost get a little intimidated because I jumped in and started to look at successful competition. And I'm like, oh my God, look, they're doing these ads every 10 minutes. They got another ad, and look how much. And the mindset started to, like, you were talking about, Shannon, and I'm like, okay, we can't do this. And so the things that help me too is I use social media a lot. I'm constantly doing stories. I'm constantly putting out content, because what I get back is such appreciation for it. And not having young kids at home with me anymore, just one fantastic husband, I need to know that I'm doing something good, right? You need that interaction, that feedback. And so I draw that inspiration from the bits of success I have, and I just have to focus on that and know that there should be tons of competition, and not to fear that, and just look at what it like, really applaud people's successes and people who are booming, and use that to get even more creative with it. Because this is only a 2-year venture for me, which is newer compared to being an actress and being a photographer, which is a very different profession. The only thing that's similar about it is it's super fun, it's super competitive, and women can get a little in that genre.
I love that. That's hilarious. Okay, so let's go round again regarding purpose and why, and then I want to get into a little bit more on your stories. So Angie, define for me like how you see purpose, what your purpose is, and how you've seen people, succeed or not, depending on how much drive or focus they put into that purpose. What have you observed, and what is that why for you?
Okay. Well, I guess when I started what I'm doing now, my initial purpose was actually just to survive. I was trying to support my kids. I was kind of recently single and trying to be a single mom. And so a lot of it was just sort of survival, and how do I build an Amazon business how do I create, money to just support my kids? And that became a lot. There was a lot more purpose that sort of fell into that as time went on. I love skincare, so I started in skincare. I had a background in manufacturing, so I started doing my own manufacturing. And that kind of rolled into really enjoying what I was doing and wanting to do it for others. So wanting to develop and create skincare for other people, helping other people, becoming a speaker, a mentor for other Amazon, people that wanted to start Amazon businesses. So I kind of found my purpose, you could say, in like what started off as like, okay, I just need to survive. And then all of a sudden I realized I actually really love what I'm doing. I love the area of beauty and skincare, and I actually love helping others. And I love being an entrepreneur and helping others sort of be successful in that same way that I've been able to be successful. So that sort of has been my drive, and I found more and more of a purpose as I was going. And I've had a lot of things come my way. Like you mentioned something about focus. I've had a lot of different opportunities to go in a lot of different directions. And one thing that I've found is it is super important to really know exactly where you're going, and if actions that are coming at you are actually contributing to you, reaching the top of that mountain, or if it's actually taking you somewhere else that maybe isn't quite your purpose or your interest or where you really wanted to go. So that's sort of been a key element of, staying driven and being able to get there faster.
I love that. I think it's actually hard to go over this purpose thing without actually telling your story. So maybe that would be the best idea. But maybe Channing, would you like to just go ahead and tell them a little bit more about you? Tell them about the purpose, tell them about the why, and how mindset has really helped you to achieve what you've achieved. And I think we're going to go back around and talk a little bit more about that with Denise and Angie as well.
Yeah, I think it's so hard to explain your why, because your why is your story, right? Is the story.
Yeah, I just
where you are and
noticed that right now. So
my why, actually mine and my husband's, I would say, we got married super young. We got married at 18, floundering, could barely pay our bills, like Angie said. So we really got started with the purpose of, we need to figure this out. We had, a 4-year-old when we finally decided to start our own company and change our mindset on everything in our lives and just jump in full force. But that was a big why for us, was we wanted to be able to pay bills and not be in debt. Most of our friends, we had seen them just have all this debt pile up and the struggle that they were facing. We just knew there had to be a different way. So we started doing some personal growth and reading a whole bunch of books to change our mindset. And that's kind of how we started building both of the brands that we have right now. And now we want to be those people that we didn't have when we started. We actually didn't know anyone. We have an Amazon company. We didn't know anyone in the Amazon space. We just jumped in and said, okay, we're going to give this a try. And there is no plan B. So we want to be those people that we didn't have, to ask questions to and to coach other people along the way.
I love that. And that is so cool. Denise, can you tell us you've got kind of an amazing, like you've
don't build it out.
You're a photographer, and then you hit that point, and I would love for you to tell them the story about our conversation and all that, and how that kind of turned into what you're doing now. But can you tell us like the full story, like a condensed version? Because
sure. Channing, I think somehow you're probably part of my story somehow, because the other two girls here are somehow. Did you ever watch Young and Restless?
Yes.
Okay, so see, she's part of my story. So one time back in the day, I was on Young and Restless. And anyway, now that it's quarantine rerun time, I was getting my manicure, and they had one of the older episodes from 9 years ago. Just kind of funny. So living in LA, being a photographer, being an actress, daughter grows up, moves out. We decide we want to get more uncomfortable and change our lives. And so we sell our home in Studio City, California. We moved to Manhattan. We live in this fun high rise, and it's different and it's scary. And there's sometimes when you want to sort of reinvent yourself and what you're doing, you almost have to change a lot of your environment. You want to meet new friends. I remember Grant Cardone one time said, he goes, I gotta move out of LA. They all know my jokes. They don't laugh at my jokes anymore. I need new people who don't know my jokes. I never forgot that when he was living in LA. And the part of it being is meeting new people who you get to grow a new part of your life with. So we're in Manhattan. I have this skin cream that I sort of worked on part of the development with that I wasn't selling. Always thought I should. Everybody around me was selling skincare and was doing well. And it's something that I don't all women, it's very important as a photographer and as an actress. This whole part has been very much a part of my life, and I understand it. And so I thought, I'm not gonna, how can I start a business? I'm just me. I mean, what do I know about this? Well, these two gals here, Angie and Athena, come into New York to do an Amazon event. And we all, they call me up, they're like, let's have lunch. So I talked to Angie about it, and I'm like, can you make this thing? I said, I've got this woman and she's this farmer, and she's like, well, I don't know if I could do those exact ingredients, but why don't you have her do it on a big scale? Well, I don't think she could do that. And then Miss Athena over here grabs my phone, calls, finds a number on a website, small type, calls this woman and hands me the phone. And cut to 2 weeks later, I'm having lunch with the other gentleman that was there in LA, coming up with a name for the skincare company. And I'm like, well, I'm Italian. It should be something Mediterranean or Sicilian, something of my family roots, because that's where it comes from. He goes, that just seems so old fashioned. I mean, Denise, you're such an in your face kind of gal. I'm like, oh, really, Nick? What am I going to call it? In your face cream? And he stops, he looks down at his computer, he creates this little like type style of it where he stacks the letters one on top of each other like that. And I'm like, oh, he's like, get the website. I call my husband 30 seconds later, honey, is inyourfacecream.com available? He said, no. I'm like, oh, he goes, I just bought it for $8. And that was it. I mean, and then becomes the work, but it's the fun part. What kind of litter are we gonna have? What's the type stuff? What's the, and you call on your friends. Wait, which way am I pointing? You call, you make use, because your friends want you to succeed. I love when I speak somewhere and I tell people, look, reach out to me. You want to get into acting, you're interested in photography, reach out to me. I'm amazed though at how few people will reach out to me. Well, I didn't want to bother you, but I said, reach out. So I started to take some of my own advice, and I reached out to people who had been doing this. And our first launch was on Thanksgiving, and in 3 weeks we sold out the entire bunch. And it was just through my Facebook following and by just being very authentic out there on Facebook prior to that. And then to grow, you gotta then work on other stuff. But yeah, it's those girls there.
No, geez, it's you. Remember that conversation we had about figuring out something that matches your life, your ability, let's talk about that, because there's a lot of women that might be on here who already have sort of a path figured out, but there's probably some that haven't quite found their passion yet. They haven't quite found that niche yet. What helped you to kind of decide that the cream was the right thing for you?
It was something that I loved, and I wasn't doing it to get rich. I was doing it because so many women loved it when I gifted it to them, and went, oh my God, I feel dewier. In an area that is very charged up for women. It's the same thing that I apply as a photographer, and I can get like freaking emotional here. As a photographer, photographing young babies, that's cute, but photographing a woman over 38, that's heroic. So that when they look at the picture and they're like, oh my gosh, well, wait, Athena, you're not over 38, are you? Okay, but you act like you're 60. Okay. Fear that you have looking at yourself in pictures. Actually, no, 60 at 160, they don't care. You act like you're 40, but you look like you're 20. And for me, it's so important for me to make a woman feel as beautiful as deep down she knows she is. And and it's not about everyone has to look the same, but you should just feel, you shouldn't fear a selfie. You shouldn't fear a mirror. And a mirror was what we had when I started photography. There wasn't any of this. There was just walking by a mirror, and I'd see my friends go, oh, and I'm like, what do you mean, like, fine, then get rid of your dark circles. Here, put this little piece of makeup here, just put that. Oh wow, what a difference. I had no idea, having come from the entertainment industry where we learn every trick in the book, that little things went a long way with women. And I applied that as an actress. I applied that as a photographer. I directed music videos of women. And I love this area of being able to give the beauty I find in a client or in a woman, giving my viewpoint onto them. And so that was the passion that drove me with a skincare company, because it's the same pain point and I have solutions to help with it. And it's more than just that. It's more than just selling something. It's having an interaction. It's keeping tips out there. It's sharing lifestyle. It's me making little cooking. You know, I can't do anything great without going, wait, I got to make a story about this because people need to know how fucking easy it is to do this.
Love it.
You know, like that sits in me, that you want to make me, you want to crush me and kill me. Have me do something really joyous and don't let me share it.
Oh, you're such a special human being, Denise.
Oh,
It's so true. And that confidence, I wanted to talk about that as well. Like, I think that it's very hard sometimes with all the Instagram and the Facebook to really like like you can compare yourself to others just way too easily. You know, am I being a good mom? Am I being, am I beautiful enough? Am I, successful enough? And like, we live in sort of a world where, you're not seeing the rest of the story, right? And I think that it's also very important that everyone has their own journey, their own, path, how long it takes them to achieve these different things. Because if we go around comparing ourselves to everything, like that'll never work, right? Yeah. So I think it's.
And I'm going to say a quick thing on that, because I one of the first things I was going to speak about when we were going to do the Create convention. Mm-hmm. Was that when I would sit on auditions, and this was again pre this era, I have a few years on you ladies, and I would sit on an audition for, a TV show, whether it was Matlock or CSI Miami, and I'm looking at all these women that are the competition, and I'm like, wow, look, she doesn't have any hair on her upper lip, and look, her ankles are super smooth. She's got no wrinkles on her hand, and look at those eyebrows. Like, and basically, it's like me scrolling Instagram, and I'm feeling smaller and smaller. But there was no Instagram. It was just me not being my own best friend. And I so when this whole social media thing comes out, it can start to do that to me. But really, I wondered, why aren't I getting so intimidated by it? And I'm like, oh. I adopted some strong habits from pre this, because it's no different. This isn't the evil thing. It's our own discipline to push that away and do other things so that pales in comparison. It's change your mindset of it. Like, wow, she just got her lips done and she thinks they look great. That's awesome. Like, admire it. As opposed to going, well, maybe I just admire it. Like, wow, that's a lot of cleavage. Okay.
One of my friends always says, stay in your lane. So with anything that's on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, if it's not helping you, unfollow them, don't look at it. But it's like, stay in your lane. So wherever you're focused on heading your why, just if they're not in that with you, that's okay. Just unfollow them.
Yeah. It's always been like that, but it's just more magnified now. But it wasn't any different for our parents and our parents' parents, But now we need to do simple things like, change your mindset, unfollow. I have some great friends. I have to stop following them because I there you go. The discipline that you need so that you can feel awesome and productive for your family and your group.
I love that. I love that so much, Denise. And Angie, can you tell us a little bit more about your story? Because you've overcome some crazy obstacles, and anything that would just be sort of a practical advice on helping people to overcome things and really start to achieve because I think a lot of how you achieved what you achieve is just you believe that, yes, it is going to happen and there is no other option but it happening. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we just talk a little bit more about how that happened and how much money you started with, and just like that story is just so inspiring.
Okay. Yeah. So at the beginning of this particular journey, it was definitely a hard time for me, kind of recently being single after, pretty long marriage. I had 4 kids. I had a daughter who just had a baby who I was supporting her, the baby, my young son, and life transitioned. I basically found myself without a job, without any income. And I was like, all right, what am I going to do? And I floundered around actually for a while, and then I did a lot of thinking on like, what do I enjoy doing? What do I like? What do I have fun with? And it kind of came back to, I enjoy beauty. I enjoy skincare. I use it a lot. I use makeup. So I was like, all right, maybe I can do something in that area, since that was something I was also familiar with from prior experience. So I was like, I'll do that. And then I heard about people selling on Amazon, and there was a program and you could learn about how to sell on Amazon. I knew nothing about Amazon. I had never sold on Amazon. I didn't even buy on Amazon at the time. I didn't have an Amazon Prime membership or anything. So it was all very new to me. And I actually thought it was sort of a, maybe a multi-level marketing thing. And I was like, yeah, it's not my thing. And then I realized, no, it's just building your own products and selling them on Amazon. So I kind of jumped in, no cash. So it was I have to make this go right. I have to create some kind of income. I don't have the money to do it. I don't have the money for product. I didn't have the money for the course. It was very like, how do I make this thing go right? But I knew there was enough aspects. Like, I like the idea of selling online. I like the idea of online and marketing and creating skincare products. So because I had a passion in that and I had enough interest in that, I was like, I can do this because I know enough about it and I can find out more about it. And I have to say, one thing that really helped me, and I have people ask me all the time, is like, oh, how do I go and be successful in anything? And it's really learn what successful people are doing. That's like the major thing. And you'd think that's such a simple, and of course you would know that, but people don't really know that. They don't really understand that they need to go out and find the people that are doing that thing that they want successfully. They connect up with that group. They attend those meetups. They listen to those webinars. They're in those Facebook groups. They do whatever they can to find those successful people in those successful groups, and they just get more and more and more information, and then they do the actions that the successful people are doing. So that's kind of how I started. And I found this course and I found this group. And I took the course, and it was just, becoming part of the team. Athena and I connected up at one of the events that was, one of their annual events that this group was putting on. It was the Amazing Selling Machine, and they had this, best-selling Amazon course. So I just followed them, and I fell on my face several times where it was all new to me. I didn't know. So I would make mistakes, and I would go to the people in the group that were successful, and I'd ask for help and advice. And a lot of times it was, they would say a couple things. Hey, check this out, or try this, or, how's your, advertising spend? And I was like, okay, let me go check on that. And they were right. I'd make some adjustments. All of a sudden I'm making a profit again. And just staying focused. Like, I became part of Athena's team, and I would go to China Magic, and I became part of her Titan group, and, those types of things, and staying connected with people that were smarter than me, even those that aren't smarter than me, just actually people asking me questions that reminds myself, like, oh yeah, you can do blah, blah, blah. I'm not doing that. Why am I not doing that? Like, I should really go do that. I know that. I'm just not doing it. So those types of things really help me to, like, kind of stay focused, stay connected, learn what it was that I didn't know. And, you know, I just kind of maintained, like, I know I wanted a successful company selling products on Amazon. I wanted to do skincare. I wanted to build my brands. That evolved into, hey, let's build a manufacturing company. That's a whole nother story. My supplier couldn't keep up with me. I grew very fast and very big, very fast. And my supplier couldn't keep up. And I'm like, I have to make my own stuff. How do I do that? I don't know. Let's go figure it out. Okay, good. You know, it started off just some very manual machines in my living room. And like, okay, I have 4 of my friends coming over today to pump out, you know, and label creams by hand, like whatever I had to do, just, you know, just make it happen. And the thing is just get a product and get it out the door and get it sold.
I love that.
Yeah. And then it's just really staying connected with, you know, you guys and those people that are successful, that are doing it, that are, you know, making a difference. And
overcome all the obstacles that come our way.
Yeah, exactly.
And do the things that others might not be willing to do. I think grit and persistence is so key to being successful, because other people might have been like, oh, wow, my manufacturer isn't keeping up with me. Maybe I need to slow down. They might not have thought of, you know what, I'm going to be my manufacturer and I'm going to label these things in my living room and make this happen. You know what I mean? And I think that when you see successful people, there are people that are willing to go the extra mile. You know what I mean? And I think there's nothing like that, you know. And the story that you were just telling, Angie, actually made me think of something really cool. So all of us have been connected in different ways, and we've helped each other in different ways. But with Angie, I also got into the Amazon space. I started selling, you know, headbands, accessories, and you know, I was struggling as a mom, and I was struggling as a mom because I was trying to work from home with 2 small kids, and then it just wasn't working out. So when I found Amazon, it was great for me. But one of the parts of this that I wanted to bring up is that when I went to this event, and I think, you know, right now what Danny's doing virtually, connecting you with all these amazing women and all the different, I see some of them that are on here supporting right now. Like, it's just such an amazing community, because as an entrepreneur, I was still pretty lonely. I was lost. And when I went to that event and I met Angie, the way that I met Angie is we were in a big room, a big dinner that I'd put on. And I said, is there anyone in here that's had any success so far? Because we'd love to hear from you. And Angie raises her hand and she's like, well, I'll give you anything I've got. So she just was willing to put herself out there, willing to help others. And I immediately noticed that. And that's sort of the formula that I've used with all the events and all the things that I've put on so far. But one thing that was really cute, and I wanted to tell this story, is that I, in the room, was deciding, you know what, because I'd hosted a few little dinners and events and stuff for entrepreneurs before that. But I'm sitting in this room full of people and I'm thinking, what would be a really fun idea? Because you can always just be innovative, guys. Like, there's no rules to what kind of business you should start. You should just do what makes you happy and what you think is going to bring value to people, period, right? So I'm sitting in this room and I'm thinking, it would be so fun if everyone in here was in the Caribbean. Like, wouldn't that be a cool idea? And I was like, you know what? We are going on a cruise. And so I went around and I let everyone know that there was going to be a cruise. The cruise had not been figured out yet. I did not have the pricing of it. I didn't even have the date yet, but I just wanted everyone to know that we are all going on a cruise, and there's going to be glorious speakers, including Angie, and then some others that were amazing. And that's just how my events started, and we had no idea what we were doing. But what was really incredible, and get this story, guys, you ready for this? Angie shows up, and we were actually supposed to have a very well-known speaker. It's a guy who's in sort of his software industry, very connected in Amazon. He was going to be like our keynote, and we found out poor guy had an emergency, so he wasn't able to come on this cruise. So Angie then had to take over sort of as our main speaker, and she goes up to talk about sort of her life and how she started out as an entrepreneur and everything else. And she's like, yeah, you know, I used to own this company, and we used to put products out in, you know, Universal City Walk and different places. And I realized I worked for Angie when I was 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
It's so random. I had never met her before. It was a company she had started with her husband years and years and years ago.
Oh,
But I was
yes.
like, are you kidding me? And so, yeah, so that was just such a cool story. But part of why I'm telling you this story is because when I was on that cruise, I'd already had some success with my Amazon business. But when I was on that cruise and I was seeing everyone connecting and having so much fun and helping each other, and I was getting this feedback of like, you know what, this has been one of the most valuable experiences that I've had for my business. And a lot of that just had to do with that positive connection. I looked around and I'm like, this is me. This is me. What I'm doing right here with connecting everyone, this is me. And it wasn't like there was some cookie cutter idea of how to start what I started. No one else had done sort of the type of events that I had done, but I knew it was my passion the moment that I saw what was being created and that I was delivering value. And so I think that it's really important for anyone who is still sort of starting out in their journey to look around and just see what drives you, what gives you that passion, because I will literally wake up so early, go to sleep so late. Like, I don't care, because my business is not really a business. It's more of like a movement, and it's something I believe in, and it's something I'm very passionate about. And I thank my lucky stars, and I'm grateful for the people that I've connected with in my life, like Channing, Denise, and Angie, and all the amazing women on this Branded by Women. I would have never met Danny. I would have never connected with anyone if I hadn't, just gone out there and put myself out there. But I think it's really important for people to look at, like, what drives you, what makes you happy. And Channing, I know you also built a brand recently on something that you were very passionate about, that a lot of moms and ladies are really following, and you just kind of built it out of magical fairy dust. You want to talk a little bit about that?
So kind of just like out of nowhere, everywhere we would go, people would ask me where I got my sunglasses. And so, many people had told me, don't do sunglasses. They're so overdone, and it's this and it's that. But everywhere I went, people kept asking me. And so I was making sales for other people. And for me, being a mom, I'm not going to pay a lot of money for sunglasses, because my children do this thing where they grab them and they go like this, and then they put them on, bring them like the back of the car or something. They break them, they sit on them. I throw them in the diaper bag, all kinds of things. But I want to have a pair when I have to go through the drop-off line and I look a hot mess and I don't want all the teachers to see what I look like. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to start my own brand. And I did it off of Amazon. It's a straight Shopify company. And it was just me. Like, it's everything that I love. And I knew how to market to those people because they are me. So I've had so much fun with it.
I love that. So for anyone who's watching this, sometimes it's not about the product. It could be about the passion. It could be about the person you're trying to serve. You know what I mean? So like, when you're figuring out your purpose and your why, think of the things that drive you and see how that might have a positive effect on people. Because what that does, at least for me, is when things are hard, and we've definitely I've run into some serious issues. I put on events in Hong Kong and China, and there was the riots in Hong Kong, and we had to like figure out what to do. You run into issues, right? But when you are passionate about what you do, and maybe you're not passionate about your product, maybe your product is a simple widget, but you know that by selling those widgets, you're able to feed your family, you're able to provide, then that's fantastic. Like, it doesn't mean that you have to all of a sudden, save the world through the product, but having a passion for either your business, what that means to your world, or what your product does for others, I do believe is very important, because it helps you to kind of battle away when things do get dark, and they always do. And we can't pretend that it's always sweetness and light, because I don't know a single entrepreneur out there that doesn't have the highs, the lows. That you've seen that meme where the guy's like, "Yay, everything's great. Oh wait, I quit. No, this is not working. Oh yay, it's working." Like the doubt, the craziness that goes on when you're in this business is just insanity. So I haven't really been connecting enough with our live audience. I wanted to ask you guys, like, are you feeling this? Do you understand what we're talking about when it comes to life and just being able to put, yourself out there and focus on what's right for you and just the things that come your way? And one thing that I think is also very important is to surround yourself with positivity, because sometimes what can happen is you're around other people who might be negative or Debbie Downers, or, and you can see that really well right now we've got the COVID-19 thing going on, and the way that people react to it is just all different. Some people are pivoting and being very creative and keeping their mindset very positive and being, sort of leaders in that. Some people are, so you can go in many different directions, but sometimes you can have people in your life that are telling you that can't happen. There's no way that what you're about to do is going to work. Why do you even try? And just having that negativity, even if it's just a little bit, can have such a negative effect on your world. And so sometimes you feel down and you think it's you, and it's not. Have any of you ladies experienced having, people in your life that sort of bring you down a bit? Channing, yes, Channing.
Right, raise my hand. So yeah, I think you have to find your people, and these are definitely 3 of my people right here. It's someone that you can call when you're just having a bad day, or you think maybe you're going in the wrong direction, but they understand your lifestyle. They understand what you're wanting to do and how fast you're wanting to see yourself grow. Whereas in other people, they're still your friends, don't get me wrong, but they might be more comfortable with you staying where you're comfortable. They're not going to push you to do more. They're not going to push you to grow because they're scared for you too. But being an entrepreneur, I mean, that's part of it. Some things are going to go wrong, and you have to be like the overcomers. Like Andy said, I'm just going to open my own factory. So you have to be the person that's willing to say, you know what, and if that happens, well, then I'm just going to do this. But I'm going to keep going because there's no plan B for me. I'm going to keep growing my businesses. And so find those people, even if they're not close to you. Like Athena does not live close to me, but I'll call her and say, we just need to talk about something. I need you right now. And she'll pick up the phone and she can get me out of that mindset so fast because her mindset then picks me up, which I love. Those are the people that you need.
Yes, all the girls on here and the amazing women in Brand by Women and Titan and everything we do, like I do believe that surrounding yourself with those people help you to just push yourself forward. Because the thing is this, like some of the things that we do not make sense, right? It might not be normal. That's why we're entrepreneurs. That's why we're a bit different. And when you're around people that don't see that, it's not going to help, right? And if anytime if you really think logically with what the ladies on this call have accomplished, or some of the amazing women, like I saw Cara, who built an amazing brand. I saw Michelle, who's done the same. I saw, oh my gosh, there's this amazing Isabella, who's one of our hosts. And, she came from Romania with nothing and just built up a whole, like all these women and all the inspiration, all the things that they've done, like it doesn't sound possible because it's not, right? I mean, think about Walt Disney when he's like, we're going to have this thing and there's going to be a castle and a mouse and it's going to be fantastic. Like, do you know how many people are probably like, you're crazy, or Richard Branson with his like airline, like, hey, I want to go see my girlfriend in the island and that flight got canceled. Who wants to go one way for, $68? Okay, great. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and buy some airplanes. Like, who does that, right? But the point is that we are the entrepreneurs, we are the creators, we are the ones that can inject life into society. And it's also very common for artists as well. Like Denise is both an artist and an entrepreneur, and she's able to kind of create and think outside the box. And I think that energy and that positivity and that mindset is the difference between someone who's going to make their life beautiful and the way they want it and inspire others and overcome, or not. And it's really very, very simple, I'd say. Yeah, and you guys talk now.
Another big thing is knowing that you don't have to accomplish it all on your own. You do need to find people that you can trust in and lean on, because trying to do it all on your own, there will come a day where you're like, okay, maybe this isn't right for me. And you don't need that. You don't need that self-doubt on yourself.
Right. And also, I have to say, too, there's going to be a lot more of this type of promotion and marketing, meaning on Zoom and on, what is this format that we're on? Is there a duck on it? Something, swan, whatever this format is, FaceTimes, that's going to happen more. What is it called?
StreamYard.
StreamYard, okay. I see a little duck icon. That's their brand, whack, whack. And so women, entrepreneur woman, those two things somehow mean you're going to have to show up and talk about your product. And obviously, the more you love it, the more people will want it. And so being able to, people that I work with, they're like, well, I'm not an actress and I'm like, you know what? I've been so scared on 80% of every acting job I've ever done, and I still did it. And so I like to tell people,
Oh, did we lose?
I think we lost her.
I was like, tell people what? I want to know.
It's okay. You could be nervous. Okay, here we are.
There you are.
Here I am.
Do it. You like to tell people.
I talked about the duck. I like to reassure. I like to reassure women that you don't have to feel comfortable and feel perfect and wait till you've lost those 2 pounds and save the money to Botox or get that eye lift you want or any of that stuff. You can start creating now, because really nobody sees that. Nobody cares about that. They are craving great stories, and especially from women. I think we're so much, as much as we have a lot more hormones and we can be a little more, we also rely on each other more. And, you may not see as much productivity, I think, happen when you get a bunch of dudes on a Zoom call. They'll be like, all right, he said that, well, I'm not going to do that. He's like, but you get these beautiful women together and they just want to learn from each other. Nobody cares that you're 5 pounds heavier now than you were before you were nobody cares about that. And so I just always like to stress, really sometimes at the end of the day, a little bit of what that is the times that you've been critical of other women, you're now holding on to that yourself. And I hate to say that. That
is that her internet or mine?
I'm losing her too.
I know.
Oh, I'm getting kicked out too. I think there's just a lot of people online right now.
I totally agree with her though. I think what she was trying to say is there's never a perfect time.
From someone else, because you've done that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. I could say something too. I don't know if I want to. She's going to come back on.
I know. I feel bad.
It's okay. All right. So go ahead, Angie. What were you going to say about it?
Yeah, I would just say something kind of on the same line. I notice sometimes I have had people in my environment, business or personal, and it seems like every time I'm trying to create or think outside the box or go forward, there's some people that will kind of just put negativity, or it may not be obvious negativity, but how it can't be done. Oh, don't try that, or that's dangerous, or that's scary, and I've started to actually notice that a lot more and kind of shift those people a little more off and spend more time with the people that are like, that sounds great. How could that be done? And it's interesting these past couple of months because there's just so many barriers in all aspects of life that have been coming up. And even with my business, it's like there's a worldwide shortage right now of raw materials and packaging, and I can't order bottles and things like that. And, the people that I'm working with, this shortage of bottles comes up and it's like, great, we're going to buy a tube machine and start putting it in tubes. Great, we're going to get our own plastic injection mold machine and just make our own bottles. Okay.
Yeah.
It's sometimes great when you surround yourself with people that think that way, because maybe it's not an idea that I would think of, but together having different viewpoints and different ideas, somebody will say that, and then you're that much stronger as a team and as a group. And it's like, yeah, why don't we just buy our own plastic making machine? Duh, it's like, great, okay. And then you're moving on and you're on the next step and the next level, and you can rise above
What's that phrase? Necessity is the mother of invention, not the father. It's the mother of invention.
Yes, the mother. Yes, Denise.
So many podcasts right now have things out too saying how many $1 million companies will come out of all of this crazy COVID stuff, because that's usually when things, explode and people decide that they're going to pivot and go different directions. So I hope everyone sees that don't be afraid, that you can still do it now. It doesn't matter what's going on. There's never a perfect time. There's never a perfect time to have a kid, and there's never a perfect time to create a business. You just have to go ahead and do it.
I love that. Amen, sister. I love that.
It's true.
When it rains, sell umbrellas.
There you go.
Yes. Jamie Baker, good friend of mine, says, what would you do different if you had no fear? I want to live that way. Okay, so people who are listening to this, what would you do different if you had zero fear? Think about that for a second. I want to actually hear it from you guys. What would you do different if you had no fear? I think that sometimes you just need to, even if you have fear, you just don't pay attention to it. I mean, what are some good tips of overcoming fear? I think
we just had to jump in and go with our first company. We had no fear. We jumped in with the first product that we thought was going to do amazing, and it did not. But what happened from that was we learned how to launch the product and set up our listing and do the pictures and all these different things so that for the second product that actually did do amazing, we were prepared. So I think you just have to turn that around like, well, that was a teaching moment and it taught me so much. So I'm still really glad that I jumped in and said, let's go, because in the end, it was still a very, very good decision.
Yeah, I think if you have zero fear, you may not have a heartbeat or a pulse either. Yeah. I think it's part of the human condition, you know? I mean, every successful entertainer I've talked to, that's what they feel before they go out on stage. And it is the most energizing. It's what lifts you into a whole new plane of action and activity and perfection, is that energy. So, you know, so have your fear and channel it.
I love that.
To know you're alive. Good. You're not completely medicating and drugging that part of you away.
Totally. I think everybody has fear. I mean, I've been scared. I'm sometimes scared you lose it all. And I think you have to realize that you're never going to lose it all. Your biggest asset you have is yourself. So you have to be willing to just go and step outside the box and create some major something and be willing for it to fail. And if you know that you can go create something and maybe it doesn't succeed and you fail, because you have that experience and you've grown through that and you've learned whatever, you can do it again.
Yeah. Was it Sarah Blakely who did Spanx? Her father would ask them at the dinner table, what did you do to fail today? How did you fail? We'd go around and ask them, well, what did you fail on today? And would really applaud that attempt that they went out and they messed something up right on. I think that's super sane.
I love that. Isn't there a saying about like, you're going to miss 100% of the shots that you don't take? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I see a lot of analysis paralysis going on, you know, like people overthinking things and not really, you know, just trying things. And I think you just have to sometimes go out there. I think for me, sometimes I'm a little the opposite of the analysis paralysis, where like I might not have a plan at all. And so like, as an example, my first trip to China, like I'd never been to the Canton Fair before. I just had brought like experts who had, you know, but I was thinking while I was on the airplane with 50 people, like, man, I hope this is good, you know, because if it's not good, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. But, you know, if I hadn't done that, then things wouldn't be what they are today. So, you know, you kind of have to jump and hope your parachute opens as you go down. And usually it does. So that's good.
Every job you do is new. I mean, as a photographer, I was only used to my studio. And then the first time somebody wanted me to go to their mansion, I'm like, oh God, I can't. How do I do that? I can't shoot someone in their own place. I have to wait. I have to go take a whole course for that. No, what I did was I hired Ray Cacciatorian. I hired a photographer who was better than me to be my assistant. And then, and I'm like, oh, it was great. You know, my daughter came to me. She was a photographer years later. Mom, someone wants to hire me, a plastic surgeon. He wants to hire me to take his photos at his lab, but I don't do that. I'm like, what do you mean you don't do that? How much is he paying you? $700. It's an easy $700. Well, I've never done it before. I'll be your assistant. Because I said, what if Beyonce called you, because my daughter does beauty. What if Beyonce called you and said, come to my house, I want you to shoot some beauty pictures. You'd have to know how to shoot outside of mommy's safe studio garage. So
I went with her. And actually one of the funnest things was at the end of the day, the surgeon said, "So how do you two know each other?" And I said, "It's my daughter." He's like, "What?" Well, I kind of loved the plastic surgeon, didn't think I was old enough to have a 20-year-old at the time. But the thing that was the best part, and you're all parents and you can understand this, he said, "Yeah, that's one thing. You don't look old." He goes, "But the main thing is the way you guys work together. I never would have guessed you were mother-daughter. It was very professional." And I really worked hard to give her the shot, like you want to teach as a mother, but you're there you're refereeing. You're just making sure that they don't fall off, but keep them owning the job,
I love that.
Yeah, but every activity is going to be the first time, just hire someone who might be better than you to shadow you, but don't say no to it. You say yes, just say yes. And, I've edited films and stuff where I didn't think I knew the equipment enough, but I could tell the story. I just didn't know the mechanics. And I would almost give away money by having someone else do it instead of going, "No, I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to hire someone who knows the other technical stuff." Just say yes and add on to your team.
I love that. So we've got a question here from Alejandra. How do you balance believing in yourself 100% and risking everything at once?
I have a good one on that one.
Go ahead,
So
Amy.
how we started our company, we kind of decided that my husband was going to jump into it 100% full force, and I was going to be able to work a few days a week to pay just our minimum bills that we had going at the time to keep us afloat until we were able to completely take over and we could both work in that company full time. And now we have 3 different companies. But at that time, that's where we were able to risk his job completely and let him completely quit, and then I could take over the bills.
The interesting thing is you believed in yourself and you risked everything. And that was sort of it's sort of like there's both.
Yeah, we still had a why. So at the end of the day, we had a reason for doing the things that we were doing. So definitely set out a plan in action. I'm not telling everyone, go quit your job and start something brand new, but you have to have a roadmap to your why. So we've always had, a list of 3 things that we want to accomplish within a certain amount of time. And then we also have a roadmap of how we're going to get there. So it's not just, I want these things. This is how we're going to do these things. So that was kind of how we risked it and then also got it.
I love that. I think that when it comes to risk tolerance, I think it's important to figure that out for yourself, because I think everyone has their own risk tolerance. You know what I mean? I put my trip to China on credit cards and I would have been out a lot of money if that didn't work out. Because what I mean is I reserved for the hotel for 50 people for 12 days, right? So if that didn't work, but if you think about it, okay, so what would happen? If I lost all that money, I'd probably have gone bankrupt maybe. Okay, can I tolerate that? Yes, I can. Let's go. You know what I mean? So you just have to do it to where you're comfortable with the consequences. And I think that for me, that was something I could have, and we moved forward, which was great. So we're coming towards the end of this, guys. We can chat about this subject all day and all night because it's just so important. So if any of you guys have questions for any of the amazing women on here, anything you'd like to add to the topic, we'd love to hear from you because we're going to be wrapping up soon. But why don't we kind of go around? One topic I did want to bring up is just being a woman and trying to balance everything, balancing motherhood, balancing business, balancing everything, because I think that's just a really important topic that a lot of people bring up. So if you guys want to give a little 2 cents on balance and how you find or attempt to find it in your life, what would you say? Let's go to
Angie.
Okay. I think when you have a lot of things you need to do and you have kids and life, lots of different aspects, I think you just really have to focus your time. I write a list of tasks I want to get done for the day, and I will get distracted and I'll have other things that end up getting added to my list, but I try to stay as focused as possible and I prioritize what do I need to be handling now, and okay, I'm doing this and then this, and I'm just trying to do those things as efficiently and just without as much distraction as possible. So I'm actually accomplishing things. At the end of the day, I can say, good, I got all this done. And then as far as like motherhood and stuff like that, it's like I definitely, section out. It's like, good, I'm working these days, and this is the time or the hours that I spend with my kids, and we have Sunday family days together, and Saturdays I work on new product creation, and the rest of the week, right now I'm like short staffed, so I'm actually wearing some positions like lower deep in my organization, and I do that during the day, and I do my tasks at night. And I honestly don't watch TV. I don't do other things. I don't waste my time. I don't spend time on other things that aren't directly contributing to my purpose. It's not that I don't have fun, or like I'll see a movie and I'll go to the beach with my kids, and I do fun things, but I'm very motivated by my purpose and what I want to accomplish in life. And, when I was studying the courses to learn how to do all this stuff, I would literally be out taking a walk or at the gym or something, and I would be listening to the next module of the training that I had to do, or I'd listen to it in bed for that 1 hour instead of watching TV or something. That's what I'm doing. And that's how I got so much done and stayed focused and got it all done and kept everybody happy.
I love that. Channing, what would you say regarding balance?
Same kind of thing like Angie said. We have certain days that, are longer working days, and other days where it's just fun kid days and we can do whatever we want to do. But one thing I love that my kids have grown up. I mean, Dash was 4, I think 3 or 4 when we started our first company. So he's grown up watching us package things like in the living room and helped us put stickers on things. And he's seen it from day one, really. And so now he's already saying that he wants to be an entrepreneur and he wants to own a company and he wants to. So I love that they kind of don't know the difference, Dash growing up in it and then Briggs being born into it. We'd already started the companies. They kind of see how spoiled they are with mommy and daddy being home, or can go pick them up or take them anywhere whenever we need to. And some of my friends don't have that because they can't take off and go on a vacation. They already took their vacation, or just certain things like that. Yeah. So I think they've seen on the other side where mommy and daddy are kind of spoiled.
Yeah. I definitely, well, my daughter's 25. But the irony is, she definitely came with me to many shoots, many film sets, could sleep anywhere. So that's a good thing. Could sleep on a couple of chairs at 2 a.m. on some set. And I just brought her because fortunately what I was doing were things that I loved, and it was surrounded by people that I loved. And so I could keep being a role model. Like, you want a mom, you want parents that are happy, and I think that's one of the most important things, is you want your kid to see a happy mother and father together, or just a happy mother or just a happy father, whoever you're living with. You want the household to be loving and productive. And that's more important than the amount of minutes that you clock in with your kids sitting on the floor, Yes. And I think sometimes we can confuse that. We think that the amount of minutes equals the amount of love, equals the wings that you get at the end of your lifetime, that you're a good mom. And it's not, I posted a video on Facebook just 3 days ago that I saw. My husband was on tour with, he's a singer, and his band was on tour with Columbia Records with Dishwalla and Tonic and Better Than Ezra. And I used to make him videos to send to him. And this was 1994, 95, before the phones. And I just would set the video on a tripod, and my daughter and I would just be watching TV, or we would just be coloring. And it was just a half an hour of us living. And one of the snippets I found during this quarantine cleaning up of your hard drives was, I set it up in the kitchen and I was cleaning the floor. I was just cleaning the floor, and then I was going to call her in. Well, she came in and she was 2 years old, and she got on my back. And I'm cleaning the floor and she's on my back, and I just and it was just this, in the background was the theme song from The Hound and the Bear, whatever that Disney thing is. You're the best of friend, and I was amazed at the feedback from mothers crying, watching this. And I thought, it can be that simple. You're cleaning the floor and you let your kid hang on your back, and yeah, I mean, I really think that this is, and now she's a professional photographer, and, last year made 6 figures, at 24. So, allow them to be part of mommy's entrepreneur life. And if you can't be with them, get friends. You know, many times I had families that wanted to take our daughter with her places. She traveled places that I may never get to do and did adventures I'll never get to do. But she got to do them with people who had a different lifestyle and could do that. You know, so we're just trying to give them happy, pleasurable moments. Sometimes they're with us, sometimes they're with friends, sometimes they're with other family members. You know.
So love that, Denise.
I love that.
All of that.
Oh, good. Thank you. From the old broad.
Yes, and I think what you said is so true, because you know, it's like you get guilted if you aren't super successful in business. You get guilted if you're not at home baking cookies barefoot. You get like, you know what? Find what works for you. Find
Never perfect.
And here's the thing: no one's really. I think in the majority, no one's guilty. We're guilting ourselves, right? Right. Like, I don't know if you have any girlfriend that's going to make you feel bad. Or you, Angie, or you, Shannon. I think it's our, that little snippet of that commercial or that one little post that it's like that kid only rolled that pin for 2 seconds and then he darted out of the house. Don't let that mom fool you. They had 2 minutes.
Oh my gosh, I know that's crazy. So I think hearing from some of these other incredible women, like we've got day 2 tomorrow that is going to be hosted by, oh my gosh, I'm losing track. So I think tomorrow is marketing, and that's going to be with Isabella. And then we've got Michelle that's going to be talking about legacy. So that's tomorrow and the day after, which is going to be huge. And these ladies are just so inspiring. They've got amazing panels. And if you go to brandedbywomen.com, you can listen to all the presentations. They're on there live right now. There's 30 of them, and you can hear just from different perspectives and find out who you relate to. You know, find someone that you connect with, because you might connect better with Channing than you would with me or with Angie or with Denise or with one of the phenomenal 30 women that are on that amazing Branded by Women. And so, yeah, like I think that what we're doing, some of us are mothers, and I think that's a very near and dear subject to my heart as well. Like that's a lot of where all this began for me, and seeing my kids, traveling the world with me and being able to see other things and to see people kind of rising above just the norm, and that inspires them. And when you ask my little guy what he's going to be, he says, I already am. I'm an entrepreneur. Like that's him. That's what he does, And I was like, well, are you going to ever have a job? He's like, only if it's CEO. I'm like, okay, boss baby, It's just, I don't know. I think inspiring kids is just so important. And I think, thank you for all that you guys do. You're all 3 just so amazing. Any closing thoughts or words or things that you'd like to tell these amazing women out there watching about mindset, about success, about anything? Channing, what would that be for you?
I would say, we kind of talked about it earlier, but find someone, even if it's just one friend, someone that's going to encourage you to be more and do more every single day. That might be your spouse as well, but find that person that you can lean on when you are going to have hard days, because it's not always sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes it is, and that's wonderful, but have that person that you can lean on that wants you to be better.
I love that. And you, Angie?
I would say really believe in yourself. Be willing to stretch your comfort zone a little bit more and more. Take those little risks or challenges, challenge yourself. And of course, get some kind of group. Stay connected with positive people and friends that help you, encourage you.
I love that. And you, Denise?
Step away from your phone and your computer, and go outside and take a walk and listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah, girl. I love it. Okay, so how do people connect with the 3 of you if they want to stay connected? How could they find you, Channing?
You can message me on Facebook. You can message me on Instagram, Chan Dyson on Instagram, and then Channing Dyson on Facebook. I think I'm the only one on there with that name.
Yeah, you are. You're amazing. Okay, and Angie, how can they find you?
Probably same thing, Messenger, Facebook, Angie Chacon, or Angie Chacon Live is my Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, wonderful. And Denise?
And I'm Snizzy Whizzlehot. I'm Denise on Facebook and Denise Duff on the other one, Instagram.
I love that. And for anyone, you're so cute.
That was great.
Anyone that wants to connect with me, I'm going to definitely be on Facebook and Instagram all the time. So you can find me at Athena Severi. There are no other Athena Severis. And if you go to athenaseveri.com, it's a way to connect. We have a lot of meetups and events and things when life is normal. So you can always connect with me by going to athenaseveri.com. And that's really just a list to stay connected if we have any cool meetups, dinners, things like that, that'll be helpful. But is there anything that the wonderful people watching want to say or ask before we head out? Because I just didn't want to leave them with any last little things. But man, this has been amazing. You guys are just
you girls are awesome. I'm so honored.
And I think
Thank you.
yeah, I think we need more of this. Like, I just love what Danny's doing. I can't wait till we can do something like this in person. You know what I mean? So people can connect and they can meet each other. And, you know, you all have such a big part of my life and where I am right now. So, you know, and if I had never met you, because I actually met Channing at an event actually in Austin, Texas. And I was doing a live video about women, about empowerment or whatever. And I saw this cute girl across the hall and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to put her on my live video. And she was freaking out because she used to
put me on a live. I had never been on a live video. I was physically shaking. Like, I walked back over to my husband. He's like, what is wrong with you? I was like, this girl just came over and put me on a live video. I don't know what to do.
We all have our first.
I'm a mess.
And Richie too. I did the same thing.
And I did it to you.
You did it to me. You're the other one that did it to me. So we all just kind of pushed each other forward into this, like, world.
Okay, we're going live. We're going live. What? Yeah, we're going live.
We're going live. And I've learned so much from all three of you. So anyway, I love you so much. Thank you to everyone who's watching. Thank you to Danny. Go to brandonbywomen.com. Stay connected with us. I really look forward to the future. The future is very bright. And if any of you guys need anything, reach out to me. We're here for you in any sort of capacity, anything that you need. And just, yeah, definitely. So thank you again. Danny, any last, do you want to come on here, Danny, or should we just go ahead and stop?
See ya. Did he feed his dog?
Yeah. Okay. I think we'll just leave the studio then. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And